My name is Brandon Mitchell, and if you'd asked me just a year back what true security in life meant, I would have pointed straight to my wife, Emily. She had this gentle, reserved way about her, the kind of person who preferred to smooth out life's chaos rather than add to it. For so long, that reliable presence felt like my safe haven. Yet, as many of us learn the hard way, even the most serene surfaces can conceal deep fractures, and I missed every warning sign until one fateful evening when our world turned upside down. It all crept up gradually, so subtly that someone like me barely noticed at first. Endless after-work gatherings, one client meal after another, and those weekend planning sessions. Her job had always demanded a lot, but I'd never watched her vanish into it quite like she did in those final months. I'd roll over in bed to an empty spot, glance at my phone and find a quick message. Stuck late again. Go ahead and sleep. I refused to turn into that doubting spouse, the needy one, or the overbearing type she sometimes teased about with our friends. So I pushed down my worries and stepped up as the understanding partner. Looking back, it's tough to admit how desperately I convinced myself that passion for work and growing apart weren't one and the same. Then came the evening that changed everything. It was a simple Thursday. I'd put real effort into dinner. Grilled salmon with herbs and fresh veggies, filling our home with that warm, inviting aroma. She came through the door after 9 looking drained, with her hair tied up in that careless bun she only wore when appearance no longer mattered. She set down her bag, lingered in the entryway, and just stared at the set table without taking a seat. I'm done with this, she declared flatly. No warm greeting, no appreciation, no I'm finally home. I forced a grin and asked, tough day at the office? She shook her head, more irritated than exhausted. Brandon, I'm finished. Finished playing the role of wife. Get used to it. Just like that, direct, unwavering, as if she'd practiced those words in the mirror. I froze in shock. What are you even saying? She loosened her hair with a quick tug and replied, I'm exhausted from pretending to be this stay-at-home, reliable partner. I don't want our routine anymore, and I'm through faking it. The room seemed to spin. Or maybe that was just my head. I'd heard stories of relationships fading away slowly, but I never imagined mine would end with one devastating blow. Trying to stay composed, I said, Emily, if something's wrong, let's talk it out. We can work through this. Her short, empty laugh cut deep. You can't repair what's already broken beyond fixing. And right there, those words drew a sharp divide, before and after. In the days that followed, our separation became real and physical. She moved to the spare bedroom. She arrived home later each night. Our conversations turned cold, like chatting with a distant colleague she could hardly stand. I was no longer her partner. I'd become a bystander in her emotional collapse. I thought nothing could hurt more than that cold distance. But I was mistaken. About 2 weeks later she texted me, because text had become our main way of communicating now, saying her dad wanted a meeting to handle the details. Details, not emotions or explanations. Just practical matters. Her father, Edward Thompson, wasn't the affectionate father-in-law type. He valued firm agreements over friendly gestures. When Emily and I tied the knot, he'd pushed for a prenup. I agreed because I loved her deeply, trusted our future, and believed family meant safeguarding one another, not preparing for the worst. But as I sat opposite him at their sleek dining table that night, I saw how misplaced that faith had been. Edward jumped straight in. Emily has chosen to go her own way, he announced, like updating a business report. Thanks to the prenup you agreed to, wrapping this up should be straightforward. I glanced between him and Emily, who avoided my gaze entirely. She seemed transformed already, stepping into a brighter, harsher world I didn't recognize. Is that really it? I asked softly. You're walking away, and I'm just expected to accept it? Her expression hardened. Yes, Brandon. I'm done. I wish I could claim I reacted with anger, yelling for real answers. Instead, a quiet resolve washed over me, the clarity that hits when the gathering clouds finally break. If she craved independence, I'd grant it. But she wouldn't escape unscathed, not in her heart, her conscience, or the full truth. As I was finished too, just on my own terms. Here's a heartbreaking truth. Heartbreak often quiets down after the initial blow. Our home no longer echoed with arguments. It turned into a relic of what we once shared, preserved in those final happy moments. Her coffee cup left on the counter, my coat draped over the chair, the picture from our getaway to Asheville, where she clung to my arm like she never wanted to let go. Those items became painful reminders, not cherished keepsakes. A week after that tense dinner with her dad, Emily and I finally tried a real conversation, or more accurately, I spoke while she wandered the room like someone biding time. I need to know, I pleaded. When did things shift for you? She wouldn't sit down, just paced with crossed arms and distant eyes. Nothing shifted, Brandon. It just hit me clearly. I've felt trapped for years, the daily grind, the ordinary life, all those expectations. I refused to act a part any longer. Was being my wife just an act? I pressed. Exactly, she answered without hesitation. A part one no longer want. I reflected on our shared milestones, celebrations, lazy weekends, the way she'd nestle against me after exhausting days. All of it apparently scripted performances. I never asked you to change who you are, I whispered. That's exactly the issue, she replied. I've lost sight of my true self. In that moment, her words carried a raw honesty that almost felt kind. Almost. But kindness doesn't erase the hurt from quiet cruelties we overlook. Beneath it all lingered another suspicion I tried to ignore. Those extended work events, the new focus on team bonding, and that colleague she'd casually brought up, Jonas, with his vibrant ideas and exciting outlook, a name that felt more suited to adventure than a corporate desk. I gently questioned her about him a couple times, only for her to dismiss it, almost upset I'd suggest anything. People don't break suddenly. They pull away bit by bit, detach, and discover something that makes their current world feel confining. I never outright accused her, though. No need. Truth has a habit of surfacing when someone's rewriting their story. The following morning, I rose early in the still house, the peaceful silence that sharpens your inner voice. Over coffee at the kitchen table, I pulled out the prenup from our files. Dense, formal, one-sided, protecting her assets above all. It no longer sparked rage in me, only determination. If Emily truly wanted out, I'd let her go without resentment, fights, or added burden. But I'd reclaim something priceless for myself, my self-respect. That same afternoon, I told her calmly, I'll sign the papers. I won't stand in your way, but I can't stay here while you figure things out. I need real distance. I'm leaving for now. She looked taken aback, perhaps expecting pleas or resistance. But I'd shed that desperation the instant she saw me as an obligation, not a loved one. When? She asked quietly. Tonight. A flash of emotion, relief? Regret? Worry? Crossed her face, but I let it go. I packed simply. Clothes, daily items, favorite books, and one personal photo of my mom, not us. Why carry remnants of a life she'd already abandoned? In the hallway as I left, Emily hugged herself tightly, appearing more vulnerable than she had in ages. Brandon, she murmured, I never meant to cause you this pain. I nodded. But you did anyway. As I added, you could have opened up sooner, we could have tried. Her eyes met mine briefly, filled only with weary silence. Stepping into the crisp night air felt like a fresh start. Heading to my car was like shedding an old restrictive layer. I didn't glance back. We imagine endings with dramatic slams or heated arguments, but often they're gentle acceptances. Two people releasing a shared dream. Emily sought freedom, and she could have it. But I craved my own renewal. Peace, perspective, and a chance to rebuild. By the time I turned the corner, a subtle spark of optimism returned. Something I hadn't felt in months. Sometimes the quietest farewells are the ones that truly set you free.